Welcome to Liberal BFer, where we put the left on check. Today's reality check. One of the most pressing issues facing Americans today is the potential for the government to weaponize its power against we, the citizens of the United States. Over the past few weeks, I've been researching a number of individuals, and my research has brought me to one individual in particular, Ray Epps. Many of you may have heard of him, as he was present at the January 6th protests in the Capitol. There have been numerous conspiracy theories circulating that he was an FBI undercover agent and that the federal agents were present to instigate and trap protesters. I'm here to explain what we know about him and why this matters. Last month, he gave an interview to 60 Minutes in which they discussed all the reasons why he is being accused of being an undercover federal agent. We have video of Ray Epps yelling at a crowd, "We need to go to the Capitol."
In fact, tomorrow, I don't even like to say it because I'll be arrested.
Well, let's not say it.
We need to go, I'll say it.
All right.
We need to go in to the Capitol.
Let's go!
I'm going to put it out there. I'm probably going to go to jail.
They're terrorists!
Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol.
We have more video of him yelling at the crowd, "We're going to the Capitol." We have video of him whispering into another protester's ear 4 seconds before they broke through the barriers. We have a text from him to his nephew saying that he was in the front of the protest with a few others and that he orchestrated it. After January 6th, Ray Epps was put on the FBI's wanted list. But then, an hour later, he gets a phone call and they take him off the list and don't look into it any further. Wow, that's a lot of shady stuff. But Ray Epps explains it all away in an interview on 60 Minutes, saying that he was just there to protest peacefully. He also said that he was trying to stop the riot. If that's what you call trying to stop a riot, Joe Biden is the greatest president ever, and he doesn't have dementia, and well, we all know those aren't true. If Ray Epps didn't do anything wrong, why would he write a written confession to his nephew? Sounds like a case a prosecutor would win. Instead of challenging Ray, 60 Minutes just asked him a bunch of dumb questions. Why would a hard-hitting news show do that to him? It was the first January 6th protester they ever had on, and they gave him an amazing interview. What's weird is how different the other protesters were treated, especially since this one was wearing a Trump "Make America Great Again" hat. There were thousands of people charged in the Capitol riot. Pam Hemphill, 69, is a grandma from Boise, Idaho, and she's dying of breast cancer. She's a citizen journalist who was at the Capitol to film the protests when they started. This woman was caught on camera, following the crowd around and filming them. She wasn't trying to take down the government, but she was arrested for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. She was facing 2 months in jail, but the judge decided to give her 1-year probation instead. She was doing far less that day than Ray Epps was, and she was arrested. Does that seem fair to you? Isn't it unfair that all these people are in jail? And isn't it time the news media started asking questions about Ray Epps instead of just saying he did nothing wrong? The news media is saying, "There's nothing to see here." We loathe Trump and Ray is a supposed Trump supporter, but nothing to see here. Leave Ray alone. I'm totally confident that this interview proves Ray Epps is a federal agent. It's getting crazier and crazier. People aren't believing the story. More video footage has come out about Ray Epps. This is a screenshot of him breaching the second barrier at the Capitol. The Capitol was protected by 2 barriers. We already saw Ray Epps breach the first barrier. Here, you can see him inside the second barrier inside the restricted area at the Capitol building. Let us recap what happened. There was a breach at the first set of barriers. Ray Epps was there. There was a breach at the second set of barriers, and Ray Epps was there, right up front. This video sounds like Ray Epps was trying to get peaceful protesters to storm the Capitol, even though he claims to be a peaceful protester. Here's the part that baffles me. The left loathes Donald Trump to the point they all have TDS. Here's a man, a supposed Trump supporter, wearing a Trump "Make America Great Again" hat, telling people repeatedly to storm the Capitol. They have him dead to rights. Ray is a former Oath Keepers chapter president. For those of you who don't know who the Oath Keepers are, the Oath Keepers are an American far-right anti-government militia whose leaders have been convicted of violently opposing the government of the United States. Ray being an Oath Keepers chapter president, one would assume means he was once in charge of the order to his men to break the law. I think it's pretty safe to say, hypothetically, at some point, one has to make a deal with the government not to go to prison for all the laws the Oath Keepers broke. So, how does one hypothetically avoid jail time? They become an informant for the government. Hence, why Ray was put on the FBI wanted list and then immediately removed when they had him dead to rights on camera, instigating the crowd. The only way this makes sense is that the FBI did not know he was an informant, placed in the crowd that day to instigate a riot. Once they confirmed he was working on behalf of the government, they removed him from the list. Now, so Ray doesn't try to sue me like he is Fox News. This is all hypothetical, of course. I mean, come on, they put grandmas taking selfies in jail, and here we have a guy in full military gear with a Trump, Make America Great Again hat on, and they take him off a wanted list and do everything they can to protect him in the media. You'd have to be born yesterday to not believe this guy was working for the government. Even the Democratic-run Senate bent over backwards to protect this guy. One has to ask why. Because hypothetically, of course he was working for them. This brings me back to the 60 Minutes interview. Did you ever work for the FBI? No, sir. The Metropolitan Police Department? No, sir. The CIA or NSA? No, sir. These are the wrong questions. Undercover informants are not necessarily on the payroll of any of these organizations. So, technically, he can claim he was not working for them. If you are not getting paid, are you legally working for them? A better question would be, were you an informant or working in behalf of a plea deal made with any government entity? If he had a plea deal to be an informant, is he legally required to say he works for them? Recently, Ray Epps filed a lawsuit against Fox News. He now claims that he has been informed by federal law enforcement officials that they intend to charge him in connection with the events of that day. As of now, this has not happened, and to be honest, since it hasn't happened yet, we all know it will never happen. This is all just smoke and mirrors to make it look like we are all just crazy conspiracy theorists. Don't believe our lying eyes. Believe what we tell you. How dare you believe what you see and hear with your own eyes and ears? They must think we can be brainwashed, like the left. Let me hear your thoughts on all this. Go ahead and leave your thoughts down below. That's it for today. To help support the channel, please comment, like, share, subscribe, and be sure to check this one out next.